Welcome viewers to round 5 of SMAC 4 Star Mazda Australian Championship. Tonight we are coming to you live from Twin Ring Motegi in Japan. Tonight I have Andrew Gaines in the commentary box with me. Good evening, Andrew. How are you?
Oh, hi Trent. Yeah, good mates. It's been a pretty fast week from the last race we had. It's gone so quick. But really looking forward to this race. We've never really raced this circuit before. We've raced here Motegi, but I think we did the East Circuit, so this will be the first time in the GP track.
Yeah, we did do the East layout at night the last time that we were here. So yeah, it's be the first time at the full circuit. So hopefully the cars go all right here. I believe you did some laps a bit earlier today.
Yeah, this is my first time doing the full circuit, and it's quite a technical track. You have to really get a flow for it. The corners can be really quite difficult because there's some really difficult corners basically. So if you don't keep that flow, you really start to lose a lot of pace. Having a quick look at the results from free practice on Monday night, and also the qualifying times are pretty on par. We're looking at the 150s or the low 150s, so it's going to be pretty interesting up front to see how they go.
Yeah, I think I did a few quick test laps here earlier this week, and I can't even remember the times I was doing, but I think those guys are probably quicker than what I did, that's for sure. So it should be an interesting race this evening. I'll just quickly go through our track here. The graphics not loaded. But we've got clear skies here today. Wind speed 23 kilometers an hour. So it's quite a tailwind. I believe that's down the back straight, actually heading into the hairpin. Humidity is 45. Air temps are cold, 18 degrees, and the track temp is 33 degrees. We're just in the final minutes of pre-race warm-up at the moment. After which we'll move into. I'll take you through the grid.
Yeah, this track's basically got a length of about 4.8 kilometres with 14 turns. And I think the current world record here in iRacing is about a 146, which is a fair bit quicker than we're doing at the moment. But obviously the car changes, and obviously weather has a lot to do with those speeds as well.
Yeah, I think we touched on it last broadcast that the car has lost about 2 seconds worth of speed over the period of this season, since season 1 this year. So yeah, that's all taken into account.
So just the one split tonight, Trent?
Yes, we do. It's full. We've got 42 cars qualified for tonight and 42 grid spots, so it all just fit in.
Should be a busy track.
I'll see whether or not these overlays work for the grid. Nope. I'm feeling your pain, Bernie. This looks more like it. So we've got Craig Edwards on pole. Justin Strickland looks like he's in second. We've got Richard Hampstead in here with us tonight. There's no time set there, so Troy Maguire and Mitchell McLeod are the top 5, as we're just still waiting to count down. Aaron Osborne 6th, Hayden Dodman in 7th, Marcelo Rivera in 8th, Mark Rayner in 9th, and Gary Hamilton in 10th.
It's quite a surprise to see Marcelo down in 8th place there, or around that area.
Very true. Looks like we're about to go green. Most people got away fairly cleanly off the start there. It was a bit close between those two guys. Put up some driver info.
Oh, we've got a big accident.
Oops, and I've just lost the overlays. Sorry guys, we'll return.
massive accident there, Trent. Took out a couple of cars. I dare say that most of them will be getting a tow because they look pretty badly damaged. So we'll wait to see who turns up in the pit lane.
Did you have any names of that accident at all there, Andrew?
Yeah, it all happened too quick and there was too many involved.
Not a problem. Well, up front looks like we've got Michael Rushton. Okay, according to my scene, I've got Michael Rushton currently in first place, Brock Creamer in second, Amanda Botcher in third. I'm not sure if this is correct. I think those guys might be the ones in the pits actually. That would make a bit of sense. Might try and go back and see if I can get a replay of what's happened at the start here.
Yeah, you're right there. We have got Amanda Boucher in the pits, Craig Edwards. Could be Richard Hampstead as well.
Right, folks, just going back to have a look at this replay now. We're just back on the start line with Michael Rushton. So there's a few cars had slight touches in front of him and he just sort of went for a gap that was just always closing. So unfortunate accident there. Ended up taking out, yeah, it looks like about 3 cars. Oh, they were lucky. A few cars just got taken out, so bit of a clog back there on the track, but rather unfortunate for those guys. And we'll head back to the front of the field.
Yeah, my mistake. Richard Hampstead's still well in it, in second place at the moment.
Well, it's quite a tight group of cars at the front here. Richard Hampstead, Craig Edwards, Justin Strickland, a couple of fairly big names in the sim racing and the 8 supercar at the front there, so it's good to see them guys coming in and trying to have a go in the Star Mazdas. Yeah, it's good to see some variety in the field.
Just a pit lane report. We've got Brock Creamer in pit lane, Wayne Taylor, and Michael Rushton. Looks like they'd used up their quick repairs. They're sitting in there for a while.
It looked like Marcelo Rivera had a bit of tank stuff coming onto the front straight then. Got a bit under the grass and got a bit loose and managed to hold on to it.
And Marcelo had a really good result last race, round 4 at Bathurst, and it's really pushed him up the ladder, but he's still got a lot of work to do if he's going to take that second title.
Yeah, he is a bit behind. He's battling at the moment with looks like Gary Hamilton battling with. He certainly will have a lot of work ahead of him. He's probably a bit further back than he's normally used to too. He's normally see Marcelo probably in the top 3. I think so far this season the ERA cars have actually dominated the series, so yeah, it looks like it's good for a break from the top. Looks like Marcelo might actually be the top ERA guy. Oh, he's made a move on Gary Hamilton there. That was really close.
I think if I had to put some money down at the moment on the championship, I'd probably be looking towards Justin Strickland. He's been pretty consistent over the last couple of races, and he's actually sitting second in the championship at the moment in the Team X-Ray.
Yeah, he is. He was actually quite up there in the previous season as well. I think Justin Strickland, I can't remember his teammate, but from memory that team did do quite well, and yeah, they're certainly up there. Certainly forming consistently. Marcelo is taking the opportunity to go into the pits. Might just go on board with Marcelo while he does this pit stop, so you can see what the drivers see. As you can see, the car didn't get jacked up there, so he hasn't taken any tyres, fuel only. It was an 11.7-second stop. So far, the quickest pit stop we've had is Adam Utri, who has done a 9.6 seconds. Other drivers to have pitted so far, we have Mitchell McLeod, 13.8 seconds. Hayden Donlan's done 12.9. And Lee Ellis has done a 23.2-second stop. So I'm not sure whether he's copped a penalty on pit entry or whether he's taken tyres accidentally there. So they're our current pit stoppers, but Marcelo looks like he is our front runner of the people who have pitted. We'll head back up to the front of the field. Richard Hampstead still out in front. Craig Eggwood is still sitting in second. I think that's a new name. It seems to have seen that. So it's good to see a newcomer up there and fighting for podium positions at the moment. We've got Justin Strickland in third place, Aaron Osborne in fourth, and Troy McGuire currently sitting in fifth position. Just got a bit further back in the pack. We've got David Jellings sitting just behind Nino Natal. Sorry, Nino, that's not how you pronounce your name. These guys are pretty close. Excuse me. David was right on the back of Nino coming out of that back straight, but looks like he might not have got a good run coming out of that last corner, and Nino managed to gap him just a little bit.
So lap 5 was 21, still plenty of time to go. Should see some really good battles come off in the next couple of laps for the first 4, maybe 5 to up.
We have a look in here at Scott Goodman drawing up to the back of Brett Wilson, and we've got Matthew Barron just behind him as well. That gap's starting to spread out a little bit. Just trying to find some drivers who are a bit close. Got a bit further back. We've got Chris Johnston. He used to race in the series in season 1. So it's good to see him make a bit of a comeback to this series after a fairly lengthy absence. He's battling with Damien Carr at the moment for 19th and 20th place. Push in the rear, but he had to pull out of that draft fairly quickly, so he won't get the same benefit he would have had he been in behind. And wisely allowed Chris to take that turn.
It's a good battle for position number 30 and 31, which is really quite surprising. The drivers that are battling for that position, which is Marcelo Rivera and Mitchell McLeod.
Yep, those guys, I confirm, are the 2 earliest cars to have pitted. So this is battle for position, and we still need to wait obviously for the guys in front to make their stops. They're currently about 33 seconds off the lead of this race.
What's a pit stop worth in time on this track, Trent, do you know?
I'm not sure what the transit time is for this track actually. It's a fairly long pit lane from memory, so I think it could see a fair bit of time used coming in and out of the pits here. Now these guys will be starting to come up to some of the cars that are a little bit further back in the field, and they're going to have to try and get past them if they want to be able to make any ground on the leaders at the front for when they come into the pit stop.
Very close for position 2 and 3 between Craig Edwards and Justin Strickland. Realistically, the top 5, 6 out in the lead are very, very close. Should be some good battles. I'm guessing they're all going to come into pit at the same time.
Richard McLeod made a pass on Chris Johnson, I think that was. He's gone wide. Lock on him. It's actually a quite big gaggle of cars here where Marcelo and Mitchell are currently finding themselves. This traffic will be slowing them down a little bit, but they're making clean, precise moves to get through the field. And, yeah, it's good to see them be challenged. These guys aren't much slower than them, so they're not just moving out of the way, they're racing into a 4th position, and so they should.
Actually,
sorry, Andrew.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, I was just making a statement that we're actually missing Wiley Preston out of the race tonight, who's actually the championship leader, so that's going to mix things up a little bit.
No, that's true. I thought there was a couple of names missing tonight. Ben Smith was another name that he's up at the front of the field. The championship table at the moment too, and he's missing from the field tonight. I was just going to report that Aaron Osborne has made his pit stop. He was in that lead group of cars as well. He has come out in front of Marcelo Rivera and Mitchell McLeod. So there's a couple of seconds gap between them two. So Aaron Osborne is the current front runner on after pit stops. Go back to the front of the field. We've got Richard Hampstead still out in the lead. He's led 6 laps as they come across the line now. Craig Edwards still sitting in 2nd place, and Justin Strickland is 3rd. Troy McGuire 4th. And we've got Gary Hamilton finish out the top 5.
Nino Natal might be a bit of a dark horse as well. He's doing quite well at the moment. Definitely holding his own. He's come a long way with his speed in the last couple of races, and definitely the last couple of seasons. He's currently standing in 4th place at the moment.
He's certainly a driver who has come a long way in this series. He started out driving the 2nd split, and now we can see him. Obviously, it's only a single split tonight, but the fact that he's currently in the top 10, it just shows you sort of the pace that he is starting to develop in this car.
With some of the main drivers actually not racing tonight, with the top 10 in the championship, there's only 100 points difference, so I think we're going to see a lot of shuffling of names for the results after this race.
Certainly check up the championship. It'll be interesting to see. Just wanted to give a bit of a shout out to one Mr. Bernie Weemers, who is currently sitting in 31st position. He has made his pit stop, so I expect to see him move up the field a little bit. Bernie, obviously, we know him from his RRTV broadcast, so shout out to Bernie for coming and having a race and having a rest from broadcasting this series, and for his help in actually helping this broadcast take shape, as well as the boys at V8's Online for their support and encouragement to get this broadcast off the ground. So a big shout out to those guys.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now without them, so thank you very much, guys.
So Richard Hampstead, our leader, has made his pit stop now. 13.3 seconds was his stop. Looks like he will come out fairly comfortably ahead of those other drivers that have already stopped.
Good. David Jellings up to position 5. Not sure if he's stopped yet or not, but he's obviously made a couple of positions up with people pitting in front of him.
Yep, no, he hasn't stopped yet, but yeah, he's certainly Yeah, we always see actually David up there, usually hanging around the top 10 in this series. He's usually a pretty consistent performer, and he's always there or thereabouts in the top 10. So yeah, definitely good solid drive again from David, sitting inside the top 10 at the moment. Out front we do have Craig Edwards now in first position, Justin Strickland sitting right behind him actually. Gary Hamilton currently in third place, so we'll see whether or not these drivers react to Richard Hampstead pitting. And we certainly have Craig coming into the pits, and Justin Strickland has stayed out. He might want to lead a lap. You do get a bonus point for leading a lap in this series, so all those extra points do count. So it'll be interesting to see the comparison where he comes out in relation to Richard Hampstead now.
I think we have a few cars just losing a bit of rhythm. We've had Matthew Barron go off. He managed to keep it off the wall, and we've just had Chris H. Johnson go for a bit of a spin as well, but he's got no damage, and he's back on the track again. And yeah, there's a couple of people just losing a little bit of rhythm, I think.
As we see our corrected leader Richard Hampstead come up on another car, Damien Carr, in front of him there, and we just saw Craig Edwards come out of the pits just behind Damien there, but pass made, and now it's up to Craig to try and get past Damien Carr as well.
Not too sure what just happened there with Chris Johnson. He seemed to go for the pit and take maybe a wrong turn. He's just rolled his car off to the grass, parked his car, and got a tow by the looks of it.
It's quite strange. Just pull off the side of the track just then. Go back and have a look, see if we can see anything in particular. Looks like he's just maybe he got lost, and maybe he might have got a black flag there from heading the wrong direction down the track. Perhaps got a bit confused on pit entry, maybe. Well, unfortunate for him.
It's one thing you do forget to do if you haven't sort of raced this track or raced a new track. You get out there and you do all your practicing, and you actually forget to think about where the pit entry and exits are, and that can really catch you out in the race if you haven't practiced that.
Yeah, that's quite true. I know that's one thing I always try to remember to practice. Sometimes I don't remember, but I always try to get a few practice pit entries in, just to sort of know, one, to know where the pit entry is, because there are a few tracks that the pit entry can be actually quite confusing. I think whereas Okayama is probably one that comes off the top of my head. You think that the pit entry is one position, but it's actually a lot earlier than it actually is, and it can cause a lot of black flags and issues. And yeah, so sometimes just practicing where that pit entry is quite important in relation to making sure that you do get it right, as well as maximising speed coming into the pit lane.
You're absolutely right with Okayama, and I remember doing a race there myself and having to wait until the car in front of me pitted so I knew where the pit entry was.
Yeah, I think I've seen in this series actually it has actually caught a few people out in the past because they've used the wrong pit entrance and they've received an iRacing penalty because of it. We've got Justin Strickland out in front at the moment, but he is yet to pit. Gary Hamilton is behind him on track, about 3.5 seconds behind. So still waiting for these guys to take it through pit lane. Doesn't look like they're doing it just yet, so we'll keep an eye on when these guys do pit and where relation they come out to the leaders. Richard Hampstead is on corrected order, our sort of leader after pit stops, so he's in traffic at the moment, so that could be slowing him up a little bit.
Yeah, 12 laps down of 21, so over halfway. Be interesting to see when these guys actually pit.
think more often than not, the tank size will get these drivers probably about 3/4 distance, generally speaking. So we should see the guys coming in. So around quarter 21, about 15, like 15, 16 thereabouts. That's of course at the very, very latest. Richard Hampstead is currently 28 seconds off the lead. So that's the gap from him to Justin Strickland out in front. He is actually lapping quicker than Justin at the moment, so it'll be interesting once these pit stops do take place. Back further in the field, 8th place here we have Marcelo Rivera. He's got a bit of a gap in front of him and behind him. Although Craig Edwards, he's actually not far off the corrected leaders, so after these pit stops play out, he could find himself in a podium position here.
Yeah, I think Gary Hamilton missed last week's race due to maybe a mix-up with the timing and daylight savings times. But I mean, he's been a top contender just about every race that he goes into, so it's going to be interesting if he can make every race for the rest of the season, see where he comes.
Yeah, Gary, he's been a consistent performer. He's actually one of the fastest and cleanest races that I have seen in this series. Always gives plenty of space, even when he might not necessarily need to, just to allow that buffer of error. So he's definitely a top quality driver, and he's got the speed to back it up. Oh, he's coming out just behind Marcelo Rivera there. He looks like he did take the pit. That's all top 5 cars have pitted now by the looks.
Yeah, Gary's sitting about 25th in the championship standings at the moment for Elemental Motorsport, so top 5 position here will definitely boost the chances.
Yeah, that's very true. Try and find that current leader. We have Justin Strickland. He's actually come out of the pits in the lead. He did an 11-second pit stop, and Richard Hampstead did a 13.3 second stop, and there is currently a 1.3 second gap between them. So yeah, that move of Justin staying out seems to have paid off.
That's the thing with these cars and the depth and the level of these drivers is that there's so little gap between their times that small little advantage in the pit can really make up a big difference in the track.
That's true, being the fact that these are fixed setup as well. I think that has a lot to do with how close these times are. Everyone's in the same equipment, everyone's in the same setup, so it's all down to pure driver skill. Some will argue a fixed setup sort of favours some drivers over others, but to me, fixed setup means the ability to adapt to a particular car and a particular setup. So, but you'll always find pretty much the cream will always rise to the top, and it's always the same guys, and usually at the top, no matter whether you're in a fixed setup or an open setup. So, but this I think does even out the field a little bit, and it gives those guys that where cars you might get a couple of tenths from a setup, this sort of eliminates that, and it puts them on par with the drivers that do have the better setups. But it certainly isn't a magic fix for all, but it certainly helps create some of this close racing that we usually see in the series.
Yeah, the setups are very well balanced as well, so they're easily adaptable. And we've said it before in a couple of broadcasts that if you're consistent and you're consistently fast, that's usually the difference between getting up front and being mid-pack or even at the back of the pack. The actual times don't differ that much. You know, there's less than a second for the top 10, maybe a second in the top 20. So being that consistent, being able to deliver those fast laps, lap after lap, that's what makes a difference in these races.
Yeah, that's true. That's one of the reasons that this series does do a closed qualifying session. We did find that, especially for the privateers, it would sometimes be a little bit disadvantaged. You could say with team drivers teaming up to allow themselves some slipstream, because the draft is actually quite severe in this car, and sometimes we found some drivers perhaps being a little bit out of position further up the grid than they perhaps should have been or deserved to have been, rather than being based off outright pace. They get a draft off another car, and that would get them up to the top. So with the fixed, or with the closed qualifying, that sort of eliminates that. So there's no draft. It's just purely between the driver, the car, and the road. That's pretty much it.
I think Jay Kennedy had a bit of a moment going wide just on that last lap, but he's recovered quite well.
Just quickly go back and have a look. I think we need to go back a bit further. Sorry guys, just trying to get it back far enough. I think he might have been trying to get out of the way of the leaders there by the looks of it. Just trying to do the right thing and allow them to get through without holding them up too much. Probably just misjudged a little bit.
Seen a few of those happen at the moment. See Amanda Boucher's got some damage on the front left-hand side of the wing, on the front wing, but also trying to get out of the way of some of the faster guys coming through. Maybe that car's a little bit damaged, I'm not too sure, in regards to top line speed.
Yeah, I think it's good that these drivers, that even though they know they're out of it, but they're still circulating, they still want to have fun and drive around out there, and so they should. They're all entitled to be on the track, but at least they've got the situational awareness that they know that the faster cars and the leaders are coming up, and they give them room. So yeah, big shout out to these guys that might not be having the best race, but at least they're out there, and they're certainly not trying to get in the way, and they let the leaders through when they can.
It's a great battle pack for position maybe 14 to 18 at the moment. So just in, I guess, addition to what you said, I mean, these guys are having their own little battles. You're not battling to win or for a top 5 or anything like that, but through the whole pack, there's some really good battles going on.
Yeah, especially this one here. There's like a whole bunch of cars all fairly tightly close together. So yeah, hopefully they have a nice clean race and they don't make any contact. Apologise for not calling out any of the names of these drivers. I'm still learning who's driving what car and what livery, so I don't want to call out the wrong driver when I'll get their name wrong. But yeah, it looks like we've got battle pack here. Paul Tajibara, Brett Wilson, and
It's a great battle pack, that one, and you can just have a quick look at their times. I mean, they're all on the 151s. It's just such a close battle. Nobody's really got an advantage in this pack.
that can actually be a bit of a disadvantage to the fixed setup that we spoke about earlier. When you do get into a pack like this, everyone's pretty much getting the draft, everyone's cutting the same lap time, so you really have to fight to make up that tenth of a second here and there, which can be hard to do, because you've got to find the absolute limits of braking you need to find as soon as you can get on the throttle, as soon as possible, and just about eking that last bit of performance out of the car.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes down to just maybe being a little bit patient and try and force the error for the driver in front of you, and that works a lot of the time. So you put that pressure on. The guy in front's really concerned about keeping you behind and does make those mistakes, which can let you through.
Yeah, that's very true. Back up front, we've still got Justin Strickland out front. He's now led 8 laps. He's led the most laps this race. but Richard Hampstead is starting to catch the back of him. Craig Edwards had a bit of a moment during the turn one there, I think that was. He sort of lost a little bit of ground, but all three of these cars were nose to tail as they came across the line. So certainly fighting up, heating up for a good battle at the start of the race, but at the front of the race. But we've also got Marcelo Rivera, who's currently 2.4 seconds off the lead. And if these guys start battling, he will make up that ground fairly quickly. And he's almost within draft distance as well. So once he gets into that draft, we'll soon see him get right on the back of these cars.
Yeah, lap 17 of 21. So we're not too far from the finish of this race. I should have ran down a sports bet and put my money on Justin, like I said I would. I think he's going to come home with the win, and if he does, it's going to move him in first place in the championship.
Just having a quick look at the replay here. That Wilson ended up in the pits. I'm not sure what happened to him. He's just pulled off the side of the road there, so I'm not sure what's happened. Go back to live pictures.
What I will be worried about is if the championship's coming down to Justin Strickland and Marcelo Rivera, there's about 35 ERA cars on this track, so if you're Justin Strickland, you'd be a little bit worried.
I think so. And any of our viewers who happen to remember the season finale for SMAC Season 2, we basically had Michael Strayer and Marcelo Rivera battling for the championship in the last race. And yeah, it was pretty much a track full of ERA cars versus Michael Strayer, and that was some of the best racing we've seen. There was a little bit of bumping and grinding here and there, but all the cars got through, and Michael Strayer did end up being our Season 2 champion that season. So as Andrew touched on last week, we've had 3 seasons so far with 3 different champions, so it'll be interesting to see what happens this season. There has been a point shake-up for this season. I'm saying season 1. Been a point shake-up for this time, where one position is worth 1 point basically. So your leader gets 100 points, or the winner gets 100 points. Second place gets 99 points, and third place 98, and 97, 96, and so on and so forth, right down to the last place finisher. But the drivers must be on track and in the server to be able to score those points. So a DNF is definitely a massive hit to the points. There's also a bonus point for for leading a lap and for the biggest mover. So as we see Richard Hampstead making a move on Justin Strickland. Justin's allowed him space there, and Richard's got that move done. So he's been sitting behind him quite patiently for a while there. But as I was saying, you get a bonus point for the most positions gained. So if you happen to qualify 40th and move into the top 10, that might be within the 30 positions, and that could be earning 1 extra point, which come the end of the season could be quite valuable.
Yeah, looking at who's actually in the championship this season, and actually who's racing. Marcelo Rivera is the only guy that actually can be our dual champion, but it's up to the other guys to stop that, I guess, and Justin is doing a pretty good job at the moment.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's just been passed, so he's in second position now, but he's certainly not letting Richard Hampstead get away at all. So he's this pack of 4 cars now for the lead, with Marcelo Rivera now on the back of Craig Edwards. A bit of a gap back to Gary Hamilton in 5th place, about 3 seconds behind Marcelo. So looks like our battle for the win, 3 laps remaining, or 2.5 laps remaining, will be between these 4 cars.
So you've got to start thinking, is Justin doing this on purpose? Does he have the advantage with getting a toe and making his move on the last lap? Or is Richard got the advantage of keeping Justin behind him, possibly making a mistake trying to keep him behind him? So this is going to be an interesting 2 laps.
That's exactly right. We've got Craig Edwards in behind there too. He's probably in the hardest position because Justin's getting the toe off Richard in front of him, and Craig's getting the toe off Justin. It's when you're the third car in a group, it can be quite difficult to make that pass because the car in front of you is also a lot quicker due to the draft. I've found what can work is if two cars are side by side and you sort of get the draft off both cars, and that can really give you quite a boost in speed. But again, you've got to wait for the cars to actually be side by side, which these guys at the front are definitely really closely matched, and that's probably pretty hard to do. Tell you what, Justin's getting very close in these corners. You seem very confident with the car through the corners here, right on the back of the station line wide. They must have a little bit of aero push there, and he pushed him onto the marbles.
I think Justin needs to get just that little bit closer to have a chance of making any move, but he's also got to watch out because Craig's right behind him, ready to capitalise on any mistakes that Justin makes.
That's a good point. Not only does he have to keep his eyes forward, but he does have to keep an eye on his mirrors as well to make sure that if he does make a move, that it doesn't allow Craig to try and get a move done on him at the same time. As we come across now, coming into the last corner 4 to start the last lap.
We've seen this all go wrong before. I mean, Marcelo's just sitting there in the background too. I mean, we've seen he could be doing a Stephen Bradbury here. I mean, if all these top three guys are battling really hard, somebody might make a mistake, and Marcelo might come through for the win.
Well, we definitely have seen that in the past. Hopefully that doesn't happen tonight. It was just a nice clean battle to the end, but yeah, it's been very close and tight at the front, and there really is not much between these guys at all. Real opportunities for Justin to get past would probably be after his left-hander. We've got a hairpin, right-hand hairpin. That'll be his best opportunity or his next opportunity, and after that it'll be at the end of the long straight. But looks like he's compromised his exit there, and it's allowed Craig to sort of have a sniff up the inside.
Yeah, he's definitely getting attacked at the moment, so he may just end up fending off Craig and settling for second.
Yeah, this is his really only possible opportunity left, and I don't think he's close enough to really have a go here. So, bearing any catastrophes, we could see Richard Hampstead come across the line for a victory. He certainly hasn't given up, Justin.
It's definitely what we want to see.
As we cross the line, Richard Hampstead takes the win, followed by Justin Strickland, Craig Edwards, Marcelo Rivera in 4th, Gary Hamilton in 5th, Mark Rayner crossing the line in 6th position. We've got Troy Maguire coming around the last corner now to take 7th. Nino Tal is in 8th position, crosses the line for 8th. Scott Woodman in 9th. David Jennings 10th. Matthew Barron 11th. Simon Fiegel 12th. Martin Silvassi, Paul Tajavara, Damien Carr, Simon Gelly, AJ Bear, Andrew Kiss, and Michael Healy. And Bernie Weed is coming home in 20th place. Well done, Bernie. And Joseph Falconato 21st, Lance Hawes, Marcus Wang, I've got Rodney Dangry crossing for 24th place. Brendan O'Brien coming into the last corners now in 25th.
Had a few big name casualties down the bottom end as well.
Mark Pavlich and TJ Brown crossing the line. They're the last cars on the lead lap. So we'll just bring up our results page. So as we can see, Richard Hampstead takes out victory here for round. It's actually round 5 for round 6. Twin Ring Motegi. Justin Strickland taking second. Was only a tenth and a half behind, so very, very good racing from Justin there throughout that whole race. We have Justin managed to lead 10 laps, and so he led the most laps in that race. Craig Edwards in third place, still only 6 tenths behind, so the top 3 covered by 6 tenths of a second. Nice close racing. Marcelo Rivera in 4th place, Gary Hamilton in 5th, Mark Rayner in 6th, Troy Maguire in 7th, Nino Natal in 8th, Scott Goodman in 9th, and David Jennings rounding out the top 10. Another solid scoring result for David there. In 11th we have Matthew Barron, Simon Fiegel, Martin Silvassi, Paul Tarjavara, Damien Carr, Simon Gelly, AJ Bear, Andrew Kiss, Michael Healy and Bernie Meemers from Redback Racing rounding out the top 20. Joseph Falcomata in 21st, Lance Hawes 22nd, Marcus Wang, Robert Dangry, Brenton O'Brien, Mark Pavlovich, TJ Brown was our last finisher on the lead lap in 27th place. Then we got 28th is Rob MacGyver, Brock Creamer, and Michael Rushton in 30th. We've got Kurt Marr. These might be some of the non-finishers here now. Kurt Marr in 31st. Aaron Osborne. Not sure what happened to him. He was in the lead pack there at the beginning of that race. Aaron Osborne 32nd. Brett Wilson 33rd. Jay Kennedy looks like he had a bit of a whoopsie at some point too. Amanda Butcher. We saw her circulating earlier with that broken wing, so looks like she managed to come home eight laps down. Mitchell McLeod, that's another casualty from that top group that we saw. Wayne Taylor, Chris Johnston, Hayden Dodman and Lee Ellis in 40th place, 14 laps down. And Adam Utri, their 41st position, 18 laps down. So that's Twin Ring Motegi race 1 and done. Looks like we have Justin Strickland waiting for an interview down there. I'll bring him up if you can ask him a few questions, Andrew.
Sure, mate.
G'day, Justin. Welcome to the Slipstream commentary box. I'm going to hand you over to Andrew. He'll ask you a few questions.
Hey guys, how we going?
Hey mate, good race. How'd you find it?
Yeah, it was pretty tough actually. The track was pretty tricky this week. It's pretty slippery in the draft. It's pretty understeery, so it was pretty challenging.
Yeah, there's a fair bit to look out for too, I guess, when you were coming through the field as well. Quite a difficult track. I don't think people really race this track very often, so there's a lot of new people to this track. Did you manage to get into the free practice on Monday night?
Yeah, I was in practice on Monday, and I did sort of 45 laps or so. I think I was second in that, so I was pretty happy with that. But I still wasn't sure how I'd go tonight because there was a few guys missing. But no, it worked out okay tonight.
Yeah, you did well. There was a couple of guys missing, but there's also a couple of new guys in there that were equally as fast as the guys were missing. We've mentioned it before a couple of times that we've never had a dual champion in this series, and Marcelo Rivera is probably the only guy that actually can do it. And at the moment, you're the guy that can stop him. So we're really looking forward to seeing this battle play out. I believe with your results tonight, it's going to probably put you on the top of the leaderboard in the championship with almost halfway through the series. So I guess you'll be really gunning to take out the championship this time.
Yeah, I was thinking about that during the race. It probably didn't help. I'm going to miss a round later, a couple of rounds later this season, so that's not going to help. I've got one bad round already, only at 25th, so we'll have to wait and see how it pans out.
Yeah, look, I think you guys are doing well for Team X-Ray in the teams as well. I think you guys are going to be pretty near the top, and you've already taken out the championship one time before.
No, we was third with the team championship last season, which we was pretty happy about in the first season. But yeah, last race at Bathurst we was 5th and 6th. Mark got me in that one. But no, it's been a good season so far.
Do you jump on the radio with Mark during the race, or do you guys have no radio control or radio communications between you?
Yeah, we've got some chat going the whole time. So last week at Bathurst, he followed me into the pits and got out in front of me out of the pits. So we stayed like that till the finish. He sort of helped me get past AJ at that race. And I said, "Oh, you've helped me a bit there. I'll let you go." So a bit of team orders coming into it, but you might have to start letting me go now. I'm on top of the championship.
Well, we'll see, I guess. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, look, is it just you and Mark in the team, or is there a bigger team behind you?
There's a whole group of us that all race together. We all practice and race and do play other games and stuff together. But just Mark and I in the Team X-Ray.
Is there any other series that you're racing at the moment, or are you concentrating solely on the other Star?
Just Star Mazda at the moment. We did race in a team of 6 of us at the Australian Endurance Championships in Spa and HPD, and we got second there, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, trying to focus on this as much as we can.
Yeah, we were in that race with you guys, actually, GT Racing, me and Trent were from. So yeah, well done on that too. You guys were a couple of places above us. We couldn't catch you guys at all.
Yeah, it's an intense race for sure. 24 hours is a long time.
Maybe we should do a 24 hours in the Star Mazda.
With how close the times are, that could be extremely intense.
So we're off to Indianapolis next week. Have you done much running on that track at all? This is the road course.
Not in the Star Mazda. I'm racing there in the Lotus 79 and the V8, so I know the track, but haven't done it in this cars yet.
How are you feeling about an oval being thrown in the mix this season?
Well, that's one of the ones I'm going to miss, so I'm sort of up and down about that. It would have been fun to do, but at the same time, I probably could have lost a lot of points anyway, so it's probably not a bad one to be missing.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct on that. We've had a couple of fun oval races, and I've got to say there's been a lot of carnage involved, so it might be one of those races that you don't want to be in.
Yeah, I'll definitely be watching it. Yeah, just going to Melbourne to visit some friends, so I won't be able to race, but I'll definitely be watching it on my phone.
No worries, mate. So, look, great results, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for doing the broadcast and to the Racing Pro guys, and also to Team X-Ray.
Did you have any sponsors at all that you wanted to shout out to at all, Justin?
Yeah, just Team X-Ray. They're the only sponsor.
No worries, mate. Again, just reiterating what Andrew said. Congratulations on second place tonight. You actually did lead the most laps there. And it certainly looked like some hard racing between yourself and Richard, but it was all clean, so congratulations to both of you, and good luck for the next round.
Yeah, cheers guys. Also, congrats to Craig and Richard. That was pretty fast as well, so it's a good race.
Thanks, Justin. Alright, so that's our only driver interview we've got so far. We might bring up our race controllers from this race and see what their perspective was of round 5 tonight with the single large split. And welcome to the commentary box. We've got Josh Burden and Scott Connors who are race control for us tonight. Guys, how did the race go from your point of view?
Oh, Indy went pretty well. It's actually surprising because usually lately our big fields have had a lot of net code, so it was actually reasonably well tonight. Most guys behaved themselves out there, which is always nice. Makes it our job easier. But I only had to hand out I think two drive-throughs, which is pretty good. So it was pretty good race for everyone. Congratulations to Richard and Justin and Craig. Craig, I think, it's his debut race, and putting on pole and getting the podium is pretty damn good.
It's quite scary, really, isn't
yeah.
it? Every time a new driver comes in here, they're quite near the top. So I think that's why Trent and I are doing the broadcast, because we can't keep up with the fast guys anymore.
Speak for yourself, mate. I got 4th place, I think it was, at Spa just recently.
Yeah, was there a few people missing?
There might have been. But no, yeah, it's definitely, the strength of field has really come a long way, I think, with this series, and there's some serious competition coming in at the moment. Obviously, Richard Hampstead's a name that we see a lot in the V8 supercar, so it's good to see him on board. We see some of the V8 supercar drivers sometimes joining in and having a go, and we usually actually do see them at the front. So, but we've still got our regulars like Marcelo Rivera. He was in fourth place tonight. Just didn't seem to have the pace there for the top three. And Gary Hamilton obviously is no slouch in this car either, and he finished almost 5 seconds off the lead. So it was certainly a fast-paced race between those three guys at the front.
Yeah, I think it's like I mentioned before. I touched on it. It's not a track that you really think about a lot. I mean, I know when I'm racing cars and I'm driving and practicing, it's not a track that I go, oh, geez, I'm going to go on Motegi and have a go at. So I think maybe there was a lot of people that really didn't know the track that well, and definitely probably haven't driven the Star Mazda on this track. So maybe they struggled a little bit, but they'll only become strong on the tracks that they do know.
Yeah, for sure. The track hasn't been run for a while, so probably a lot of people a bit rusty on it. But it was actually relatively surprised, like Scott said, with the little amount of crashes. There were a few, but not as many as compared to previous rounds.
Yeah, I think we have raced this track before, but it was the East layout, I think it was, and I don't think even in the what's it called, the official series, this track's really not used that often. It actually is quite a good track. It's a fun track, fairly flowing, and this car does seem to actually go pretty well here. But it's a track that probably isn't as popular as what it possibly could be, which is a shame because it is a track that is quite enjoyable, and obviously we've seen tonight that it can produce some pretty close racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is a few tracks on the service that don't really get enough attention, I think, which always come out with some great racing, and I think obviously as the series goes on, we'll bring those dust off those tracks and bring them out and get some great racing going on those tracks.
Well, the next two rounds will certainly be interesting with the Indianapolis Road Circuit next week. That's probably a track that I don't think I've ever driven on in any official series in iRacing in the 2 or 3 years I've been online. So it'll be good to see that track have a bit of a crack. And something a little bit interesting and very new to SMAC was we'll be running our first oval series, oval race outside of any sort of specific oval series. So we'll be running the Indy Oval as well the week after the road course. So I think that's going to probably produce a little bit of interesting results and interesting racing. Hopefully we have a bit of courtesy from a lot of the drivers because that's what we need around there is just allow space. The race isn't won in the first few laps. It's basically just going to be a big draft fest. So yeah, that's certainly going to be an interesting race to watch. So that's in 2 weeks' time, that one at the Oval, and next week is the road course.
Yeah, the ovals are always good to watch from a spectator point of view because the racing is so close, and the smallest mistake can really bring out a massive bit of carnage. So it's going to be really interesting. Have you put any thought into safety cars and fast repairs? Is it going to be a little bit different from the road courses, or have you thought about those rules and regulations yet?
We're looking at probably adding just a couple more fast repairs, just so that because there's going to be the inevitable crash. So we don't want to end up with three cars circulating by the end of the race. So we'll probably put out a few fast repairs. And the yellows is certainly something that we could look at for that particular race. I think if there is a big crash, we probably will need to throw a yellow just to sort of clean up the mess, allow guys to get back to the pits, repair their cars, and possibly get back into the race. So yeah, we'll see. We'll take that on board heading into that round and see if there's anything we need to tweak in the rules for that specific race this season.
Two rounds I'm really looking forward to is round 8 at Interlagos and round 11 at Summit Point. I reckon those tracks really put on some great racing, and they're great fun to drive in these cars.
Yeah, I think this car, although we get some good racing on the high draft tracks like Phillip Island, Suzuka, those sorts of tracks. We also do get some good racing on those tight, twisty tracks like Summit Point, etc., like you mentioned. So Summit Point's definitely a race that I am looking forward to. And probably Watkins Glen is another one that we didn't really get the chance to see properly, I don't think, last season. So it's yeah, they're probably the two that I'm really looking forward to, and probably the season finale at Suzuka. That should produce some good racing. 60 grid stalls there. We did have 60 cars on the grid at Suzuka in season 2, round 2, I believe it was. So it'd be great if we can replicate that field size and run a massive field for our season finale this season.
Absolutely. I mean, traditionally we usually finish at Phillip Island, and that's been a great race. It's been a bit of a tradition, I guess, in this series. So we're taking it to Suzuka as the finale. So that's going to be really exciting. Have you had any thoughts for week 13?
Not at this stage, but if there's anyone out there, any viewers want to get into the thread on iRacing and have any suggestions for a week 13 race, we did run Long Beach last week 13, and that was actually a pretty enjoyable race. I did take part in that one, and the wall certainly bit quite a few drivers, but it certainly was a race of attrition. Um, we may even look at the possibility of slightly longer races, maybe play around with some driver swaps and things like that, just to mix it up a bit and have a bit of fun with the series.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Week 13 is always fun, and it's still usually a good turnout as well. So Long Beach was a lot of fun. I got taken out in the first corner on that, so I was a little bit upset, but kept going and had a ball.
Right, just touching back to our race control guys, is there anything else you guys want to add before we sign off for the evening?
I just want to say thanks to the drivers that come out each week and come and race in the series, and to you guys now getting the stream back going with Slipstream, getting it back going. So we got some viewers going in, taking over Bernie's job for a little bit.
It was actually quite good to see Bernie out there on track, hopefully having a bit of fun, instead of having to get up here in the booth and do some work. He's actually down there having a bit of fun. So another shout out to Bernie from Redback Racing and Double RTV. Yeah, big thanks to him for his assistance with the broadcasts, as well as the guys from V8's Online. So yeah, good to see you out there, Bernie, having a good time.
You know what? I think secretly this was planned because he wanted to race in this series. So I think he's planned this really well.
Well, he has been broadcasting it for 3 seasons now, so he's obviously watched and he's like, I can do this too. So he's out there having a good time. So yeah, definitely glad to see.
Yeah, it is good to see. It's good to see everybody out there actually, and the guys that just keep coming back and having a ball. I mean, even if they're not fighting for the top positions, hopefully we can still get them on the broadcast. Like you said, when there is a split 2 in one of the races, we'll do a split 2 broadcast as well, just to give those guys a bit of airtime.
And we'll certainly announce that in the forums prior to the race, so that the guys will be aware that it's split 2 that will be being broadcast. So yes. So before we go this evening, I wanted to thank our sponsors, quickbeds.com. We are part of their grassroots fundraising program. When you go to quickbeds.com, enter in the grassroots code 1564. Any bookings made using that code will help support to pay for the series and the broadcasting of this series, and hopefully when we branch into other series as well. And we'd like to thank the people that have used QuickBeds in our grassroots code so far. We thank you for your support. So yeah, that's quickbeds.com, grassroots code 1564. So,
Yeah, thanks
sorry,
to
go
Race
ahead.
Control. Sorry, mate. I just want to thank Race Control as well. I mean, they put out their own time to do this. We don't pay them. They do ask for it, but we refuse to give them anything. But they do a
Lies.
great job.
Lies.
So thanks very much, guys.
Yeah, shout out to the JFF guys, Josh Burden and Scott Stevens, who's usually up here giving a hand in race control so far in season 4. So thanks to those guys, our regulars, Scott Connors and Matt Wilkins. they're a bit busy this season, so they're not here as often as they would like. So yeah, definitely a big shout out to those guys from JFF for their assistance in race control so far this season.
Could have something to do with us not paying them though.
Yeah, maybe the JFF
Going
guys
on
will still
strike.
win. All right, guys. So on behalf of Andrew Gaines, Josh Burton, Scott Connors, Matt Wilkins, I'm Trent Thomas. You've been watching Slipstream. Thank you for watching.